and the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara, where golden savannas stretch beneath an endless sky, a legend was born. This is the story of Lipstick, a lion whose name echoed through the wild, and the 4 Kilometers Coalition, a brotherhood that rose to power and faced the untamed trials of Africa's fiercest frontier. The Masai Mara National Reserve, spanning 1,500 square kilometers, is a sanctuary of raw beauty and relentless survival. Here, nature writes epic tales of courage, and none are more gripping than those of its lions, apex predators who must prove their dominance daily. Did you know a lion's roar can be heard 5 miles away, a thunderous claim to their throne? In 2005, a cub named Lipstick entered this world, marked by a shadowy patch beneath his lips, a feature that would define his legacy. By 2007, Lipstick and his 3 brothers were cast out from their pride, trading princely comfort for the harsh path to kingship. Together, they formed the 4 Kilometers Coalition, named for the triangular patch of land they claimed as their stronghold. This wasn't just a territory, it was their fortress, a base from which they launched daring quests for power. Lipstick, with his keen instincts and unyielding spirit, emerged as their leader. His bond with his brother Blackie was unbreakable, a loyalty that would anchor them through triumphs and tragedies. Their journey was fraught with peril. Crossing a crocodile-infested river, Lipstick's quick reflexes saved his brothers from a snapping jaw, an early testament to his courage. But the savannah spares no one. The coalition clashed with the notorious Notch Pride, 6 battle-hardened lions who ruled the Mara. In a bold ambush, the young brothers took down one of Notch's members, but victory came at a cost. The Notch lion struck back, killing one of the 4 Kilometers brothers in a brutal act of vengeance. The coalition, now 3, learned a harsh truth. In the wild, every crown is forged in blood. Lipstick's ambition burned brighter than ever. He wasn't content to merely survive, he wanted to rule. In a series of daring conquests, the coalition seized 2 prides, dethroning rival males and claiming lionesses to build their legacy. Lion prides can include up to 40 members, but maintaining one demands constant vigilance. Lipstick and Blackie's pride grew, their cubs a symbol of their reign. Yet the savannah is a merciless chessboard. One brother broke away, only to meet a tragic end, leaving Lipstick and Blackie as the last of the coalition. In 2014, a new threat loomed: Scarface and his 4 musketeers, a coalition as fierce as they were cunning. In a savage battle, Lipstick and Blackie were driven from their pride, watching helplessly as their cubs fell and their kingdom fractured. For a year, they roamed as nomads, their dream of dominance flickering. But lions, like the Mara itself, are resilient. By 2015, the brothers roared back, reclaiming prides and expanding their lineage. Blackie, despite a near-fatal injury, defied the odds, his recovery a testament to the coalition's indomitable will. Yet, time is the ultimate predator. By 2018, age and battle scars had slowed Lipstick. A torn tendon left him limping, unable to hunt or defend his pride. Blackie shouldered the burden, but the weight of leadership was crushing. In May 2018, Lipstick climbed to a high ridge, gazing over the lands he once ruled. There, at 13, he took his final breath, a king to the end, his story etched into the Mara's soul. Blackie faced his own trials. A drought gripped the reserve, starving the land and its creatures. Hyenas, emboldened by hunger, struck down 2 lionesses as Blackie, weakened by age, could only watch. Soon, a new coalition of young males expelled him. Blackie vanished into the Mara's vastness, presumed lost to time. With his departure, the 4 Kilometers Coalition saga drew to a close. Lipstick and his brothers remind us of the fragile balance between power and vulnerability. Their story isn't just about survival, it's about the fire of ambition, the bonds of brotherhood, and the courage to face an unforgiving world. The Masai Mara, where 70% of Kenya's wildlife thrives, continues to cradle such legends, whispering their tales through the rustling grass. This is the legacy of Lipstick and the 4 Kilometers Coalition, a testament to the wild heart of Africa, where every roar tells a story of resilience and reign. Deep in the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara, where the African savanna stretches beneath a boundless sky, a legend was born. Among the Golden Plains, young lions rise to claim their throne in a world where only the strongest prevail. Today, We unravel the epic tale of Lipstick, a lion whose name echoes through the wild, and the 4 Kilometers Coalition, a band of brothers who carved their destiny in the face of relentless challenges. In 2005, within the breathtaking expanse of the Masai Mara National Reserve, a 1,500 square kilometer sanctuary teeming with life, a cub was born with a curious mark. A shadow beneath his lips, subtle yet striking, earned him the name Lipstick. This small feature would become a symbol of a lion destined for greatness. Did you know that lion markings, like human fingerprints, are unique? Lipstick's mark wasn't just a name, it was a signature of his singular journey. By 2007, Lipstick and his 3 brothers were cast out from their pride, transitioning from princes to warriors. With fire in their hearts, they ventured into the unknown, driven by a hunger for power. The savannah is no gentle cradle. Crocodiles lurk in rivers, hyenas stalk the shadows, and rival lions guard their territories with lethal force. Fun fact, a lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles away, a chilling reminder of their dominance. For Lipstick and his brothers, every step was a test of survival. Their bond was unbreakable, especially between Lipstick and his brother Blackie, whose loyalty was as fierce as the savannah sun. Together, they faced a defining moment, crossing a crocodile-infested river to pursue the scent of lionesses. As a massive croc lunged, Lipstick's quick reflexes saved the day, proving his instincts were as sharp as his claws. This courage defined the coalition, but it came at a cost. Their numbers dwindled, and their bold lifestyle earned them the name 4 Kilometers Coalition, tied to the triangular patch of land they called home. Lipstick wasn't just a fighter, he was a strategist. In a daring move, the coalition challenged the legendary Notch Coalition, a group of battle-hardened lions. By isolating and eliminating one of Notch's members, they sent a message, but it sparked a vendetta. The Notch lions struck back, claiming one of the 4 Kilometers brothers in a brutal act of revenge. This loss hit hard, forcing Lipstick to confront the price of ambition. It's a stark reminder. In the wild, every victory carries the shadow of sacrifice. Undeterred, Lipstick's vision burned brighter. He led the coalition to conquer their first pride, dethroning its leader and claiming the lionesses. Their lineage grew, but challenges never ceased. In 2014, Scarface and the 4 Musketeers invaded, forcing Lipstick and Blackie to flee as their cubs were slain. Yet, like the savannah itself, they endured. By 2015, the brothers roared back, reclaiming prides and expanding their legacy. Did you know a lion coalition can control multiple prides, sometimes spanning dozens of lionesses? Lipstick's empire was a testament to his tenacity. But time spares no king. In 2018, Lipstick, now 13, suffered a crippling injury to his hind leg. Limping and in pain, he could no longer hunt or patrol. Blackie shouldered the burden, but age was closing in. In May 2018, Lipstick climbed to the highest point of his territory, gazing over the lands he'd ruled. There, he took his final breath, leaving behind a legacy etched in the earth. Blackie, too, faced his end soon after, outmaneuvered by younger lions and overwhelmed by hyenas during a drought. Presumed dead, his fate sealed the 4 Kilometers Coalition story. Reflecting on Lipstick's life, I'm struck by his resilience. He wasn't just a lion, he was a symbol of defiance against the odds. His story teaches us that leadership isn't about avoiding hardship, but about rising through it. The savannah doesn't reward the timid, it crowns those who dare. Lipstick and the 4 Kilometers Coalition remind us that even in defeat, a legacy of courage endures. As the sun sets over the Masai Mara, the roars of new kings echo where Lipstick once stood. His tale, like the savannah itself, is timeless, a saga of strength, sacrifice, and survival that continues to inspire. In the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara, where the savannah hums with life and danger, a lion cub was born into a legacy of power and promptly forgotten. This is the story of Earless, a lion who defied the odds to become the mightiest of the Notch dynasty, a name that echoes like thunder across the African plains. Abandoned by his father, Notch, a legendary lion who ruled 11 prides with unmatched dominance, Earless was left to face a brutal world alone. Yet, within this cub burned a fire that would reshape the Mara's history. Let's unravel the tale of how a forsaken cub rose to become a king, and what secrets of survival he carried in his blood. Picture the scene, 2011 Masai Mara. Notch, a titan among lions, strides across his vast territory, his coalition of sons trailing behind, carving out an empire. But in their wake, a pride is left behind, vulnerable. Among them, a tiny cub, just months old, clings to his mother. This is Earless, named for his distinctive lack of ear tufts, a trait that set him apart from his kin. Notch's hunger for conquest meant weaker prides were abandoned, left to fend off intruders. For a cub like Earless, this was a death sentence. When a new dominant lion seized the pride, tradition dictated he'd kill any cubs not of his lineage. But fate had other plans. Earless' mother, a cunning lioness, hid him in the tall grasses for weeks, shielding him until the new king was distracted by her daughter's mating cycles. When she finally brought Earless back, the king, sated and less threatened, spared the cub's life. This was no act of mercy, it was a rare miscalculation. Earless grew, his muscles mirroring his father's, his spirit unyielding. By the time he was a teenager, he was a force of nature, leading hunts with a boldness that turned heads. Did you know lions as young as Earless rarely take charge during hunts? Yet here he was, orchestrating kills, ensuring his siblings ate only after he did, a born leader. But power comes at a price. As Earless entered puberty, his presence threatened the pride's king. The older lion, who'd raised him like a son, now saw a rival. Tension simmered. Earless, though, was no ordinary lion. He studied the king's every move, watching as he fended off invaders. Each roar, each strike, was a lesson etched into Earless' mind. Fun fact, lions learn combat strategies by observing their elders, and Earless was a master student. When the lionesses entered estrus, Earless' hormones surged, and he seized his moment. One scorching afternoon, while the king napped under the savannah sun, Earless mated with a lioness, a bold act of defiance. The king awoke to a changed pride. No longer the sole ruler, he confronted Earless, urging him to leave. But Earless, forged in adversity, refused. What followed was a battle for the ages, two titans clashing under the Mara's endless sky. The king, torn between fondness and fury, hesitated to deliver a fatal blow. Earless, fueled by his father's tempestuous blood, fought with relentless precision. After a grueling duel, Earless emerged victorious, claiming the throne. His first act as king? A grim necessity. He eliminated the former ruler's cubs to secure his lineage. It's a brutal reality of lion society. New kings often kill to ensure their genes prevail. Earless' reign was nothing short of cinematic. Every fight mirrored Notch's ferocity, as if his father's spirit guided him from afar. Hunting became his art form, a display of prowess that awed his pride. Did you know Earless was recorded as the most aggressive of Notch's heirs? His dominance was unchallenged until tragedy struck. During a hunt, a buffalo's wrath claimed one of his lionesses. Enter Boxer Noose, a lion seeking vengeance for his own lost queen. Instead of rivalry, the two formed a rare alliance, a bromance that shook the Mara. Together, they conquered two more prides, expanding Earless' empire. By 2020, Earless and Boxer Noose were last seen leading their prides toward the Mara's borders, chasing new horizons. Their fate remains a mystery, but Earless' legacy endures. He wasn't just a survivor. He was a testament to resilience, a cub who turned abandonment into triumph. What made Earless so formidable? Perhaps it was his father's genes, or maybe it was the crucible of his early years. I like to think it was both, plus something deeper, a spark of defiance that refused to be extinguished. Earless' story reminds us that even in the wild, where survival is a daily gamble, greatness can rise from the ashes of neglect. The grandsons of Notch carry on his bloodline, their roars echoing Earless' saga. The Masai Mara, with its endless dramas, continues to teach us about courage, power, and the unbreakable will to survive. So, next time you hear a lion's roar, remember Earless, the forgotten cub who became a king. In the heart of South Africa's Sabi Sand Reserve, where the sun burns gold and the wild pulses with life, 3 lions carved out a legend. They were the Sand River Coalition, 3 brothers born in 2007, sired by the mighty Skukuza, a dominant alpha whose roar echoed through the savannah. These weren't your typical lions. They didn't crave prides or cubs. Instead, they lived for the thrill of the fight, the bond of brotherhood, and the open horizon. This is their story, a saga of courage, defiance, and survival. From their tranquil cubhood under Skukuza's reign, the trio, known for their distinct manes, including one with a strikingly short mane, grew into restless wanderers. By adulthood, they roamed Sabi sand, slipping into prides, charming lionesses, and sparking fury among resident males. Each clash honed their skills, forging them into a formidable unit. Did you know lion coalitions are rare, with only about 20% of male lions forming such tight-knit groups? These brothers were an exception, their unity a weapon sharper than their claws. Their first major test came against a pride of 4 males and 5 lionesses. Unlike the receptive females they'd met before, these lionesses stood firm, backing their males in a brutal showdown. The Sand River trio fought valiantly, but Shortmane took a near-fatal blow. Bloodied but unbowed, they retreated, nursing their wounds and their pride. This defeat wasn't the end, it was a turning point. It taught them strategy, patience, and the value of their bond. Weeks later, they returned, stronger, bolder, and officially dubbed the Sand River Males. Their ambition led them north to challenge the Malayan Coalition, a powerhouse of battle-hardened lions. In a daring dawn ambush, the Sand River Males struck, hoping to catch their rivals off guard. But the Malayan were no ordinary foes. Fun fact, male lions can weigh up to 550 pounds and deliver bites with 650 pounds of force per square inch. The Malayan's strength overwhelmed the trio, and Shortmane was gravely wounded again. As his brothers dragged him to safety, their loyalty shone brighter than any victory. Miraculously, Shortmane survived, saved once by a herd of trumpeting elephants that startled his attackers. This resilience defined the Sand River Lions. They weren't just fighters, they were survivors, bound by a brotherhood that defied the savannah's brutal code. Reflecting on their story, I can't help but wonder, what drove them? Was it pride, instinct, or something deeper, a refusal to bow to the wild's relentless grind? Their final recorded clash was against the legendary Mapogo Coalition, 3 lions as fierce as they were infamous. The Mapogos, led by the indomitable Mr. T, were the stuff of nightmares, having once dominated 6 prides. The battle was a bloodbath, with neither side claiming the land. Both coalitions, battered and wary, began avoiding each other. By 2015, the Sand River Lions, then 8 years old, vanished from sight. Tracks along the Sand River hinted at their presence, but their fate remains a mystery. What became of these outsiders? Did they carve out a quiet corner of the wild, or did they roam until their last breath? Lions typically live 10 to 14 years in the wild, so their story might have stretched into the late 2010s. Their tale reminds us that nature's heroes don't always wear crowns. Sometimes they're rebels, fighting not for glory, but for each other. The Sand River Lions left no pride, no cubs, just a legacy of grit and heart, etched into the sands of Sabi. In the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara, where the savannah hums with life and danger, Spear Boy was no ordinary lion. Born into the storied lineage of Notch, the mighty patriarch whose coalition once ruled vast prides, and Notch too, a father whose battle scars told tales of dominance, Spear Boy carried a heavyweight crown from birth. Trained by his father, he mastered the art of the hunt and the fury of combat, his skills so sharp they seemed almost mythical. But what makes Spear Boy's story unforgettable isn't just his strength, it's his defiance of fate. Imagine a lion, barely past his prime, struck down by a spinal injury during a training bout with his father. Vets at the reserve shook their heads, certain he'd never walk again. A catastrophic blow for any predator, let alone a king with cubs to protect and a legacy to uphold. Yet Spear Boy wasn't done. Against all odds, he didn't just recover. He roared back stronger, his limp fading into a stride that commanded respect. This wasn't just healing, it was a testament to a will forged in the fire of the savannah. Did you know lions with such injuries rarely survive in the wild? Spear Boy's comeback is a rare marvel, a reminder of nature's capacity for miracles. But the wild spares no one, not even a king. In 2019, after Notch 2's death, Spear Boy ruled the Lockout Pride alone, a solitary monarch in a world of relentless challenges. One moonless night, as he guarded his cubs while his lionesses hunted, disaster struck. A rival lion, cloaked in darkness, ambushed him, targeting his old injury. The attacker's teeth sank into Spear Boy's spine, and his roars of agony echoed across the Mara. Helpless, he watched as his cubs were slaughtered before him. The pain of loss cut deeper than any wound. The rival, believing Spear Boy would waste away, left him to die. But underestimating this lion was a fatal mistake. Spear Boy's story could have ended there, a broken king fading into the shadows. Instead, he vanished among the rocks, surviving on rodents, his spirit unyielding. Weeks later, he emerged before stunned safari-goers, his mane tattered but his eyes blazing with resolve. A nomadic lion's life is brutal. Lone males face starvation, rival prides, and stampeding buffalo. Yet Spear Boy, still nursing his wounds, knew survival meant alliance. Enter Katiti, a young, brash lion with raw power but little strategy. In a moment straight out of a wildlife epic, Spear Boy orchestrated a zebra hunt, letting Katiti take the kill. That shared feast sealed their bond, a coalition born of necessity and mutual respect. Together, they were a force. Spear Boy's cunning paired with Katiti's strength toppled a rival king, reclaiming a pride. But their partnership revealed a deeper truth about Spear Boy. Unlike his ancestors, whose thirst for conquest defined the Notch dynasty, he sought peace, not power. Katiti, pulsing with youthful ambition, craved more prides and eventually left, leaving Spear Boy alone again. For nights, his roars haunted the savannah, as if calling for his lost friend. It's a poignant reminder. Even kings feel the sting of betrayal. Did you know lions form coalitions to boost survival odds? Spear Boy's alliance with Katiti was a masterclass in strategy, but its end showed the cost of clashing dreams. By 2021, Spear Boy was last seen leading his lionesses and cubs to a secluded corner of the Mara, his mane full and his gait steady. He chose a quieter reign, stepping away from the Notch legacy of domination. Some say he ended the era of fury. Others believe his cubs carry the spark of Notch's fire. In a reserve where Notch's bloodline still roams, Spear Boy's story lingers. A lion who faced the abyss and chose to rise, not as a conqueror, but as a survivor. His tale challenges us to rethink strength. Is it in ruling vast lands or in forging a life against all odds? As the sun sets over the Masai Mara, Spear Boy's legacy endures, a roar echoing through time, urging us to find our own resilience in the wilds of life.